All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our webinar on building your HR career in Canada. My name is Wendy Blushke, and I work with Windmill Microlending. And I'm going to introduce our panelists before we get started. So my colleague Lydia May, she's the partnerships lead out in her office is in Calgary. And we have Fiona Amamo, right? And she is the registrar at CPHR Alberta. And then we also have on the call Svetlana Miftahov-Rapoport, and she is an HR professional and educator with international experience. I'm sure you'll learn a little bit more about all the three people who have joined us as panelists. So now I'm going to turn it over to Fiona, and she's going to talk about the overview of HR profession, the pathways, and strategy for success.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome today. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. My name is Fiona, and I am the Registrar of CPHR Alberta. It's really wonderful to see people at different levels of HR. So with the poll, I know some of you are already working in HR, some of you are looking to transition to HR. What we're going to discuss today will kind of touch on every aspect of your career level in HR. So thank you so much for making the time. And I just want to say a special thank you to those in Nova Scotia. I know you guys got your invitation very late, so I do appreciate that some of you were able to join even with the time difference. Today we're going to look at what it means to have the CPHR designation, member benefits, and the pathways to the designation. There'll be a lot of times for question and answer at the end, but feel free to stop me along the way if you have a pressing question. Sorry, I have something. Okay, awesome. So CPHR, the acronym stands for Chartered Professionals in Human Resources. CPHR Canada is a national HR body that represents HR professionals across Canada. So currently there are over 35,000 members across the nine different provinces and 3 territories. What CPHR Canada does is they are the national voice for HR profession. So they lead with the recognition of the profession, the advancement and the influence of HR nationally and internationally. They do a lot of research in the changes in HR policies, the procedures, the trends, what is happening in HR, and keep their members updated. So it's a lot of work that goes into it. This is why CPHR Canada has broken it down to different provinces, and each province has a local association and they handle a bit of work. So we handle what we say is the pathway to the designation or the pursuit of the designation. So we help people from membership all the way to getting their designation. We also offer a lot of professional development activities for HR professionals. For those in HR, or if you know anything about HR, it is very dynamic. It's not stuck in one place. There are a lot of moving parts. So being constantly updated with what is happening in HR is very important. So that is where professional development comes in place. Now, with all your provincial associations, there are opportunities to network and also give back to the community. The wonderful thing about having the CPHR designation is it is mutually recognized across different institutions outside Canada. So if you have the CPHR designation, you can transfer it to the SHRM designation in the United States. You don't need to go through all the process. You email them and ask to transfer over. If you live in United Kingdom, you can also transfer it to a CIPD designation, and you don't even need to live in the country. Maybe you want to have a designation in UK or US for work or to expand your search. Your CPHR designation is mutually recognized across board. Now, Why become a member? So there's so many benefits to becoming a CPHR member. There are social benefits like discount on insurance or phone plans or tickets. But today we're going to focus on three that pertain to career search and advancement. And this is because the poll specifically said that there are people looking for work in HR in Canada. So we're just going to narrow it down to three major areas that would help you with your career search in Canada. We'll be discussing networking opportunities, mentorship program, and career search. All your CPHR provinces have a career center page. If you search CPHR Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, British Columbia, across board, you will find access to a career center page. Now, it is lovely if you apply for jobs through Indeed or ZipRecruiter and all that, but sometimes the limitation with some of these websites is the fact that some of the job postings are very old. The jobs don't exist anymore. The positions have been filled. So if you're looking for work specifically in HR, I recommend looking at your association's career search board. They have jobs ranging from different career levels in HR. You have entry level, internship, mid range, and executive level roles. Most of these job board posts across different places in Canada. So if you go to CPHR Alberta job board, for example, you'd find jobs in Nova Scotia or BC or anywhere. So we post across board. And the wonderful thing about the jobs that are posted is each province follows up with the company to see if the position has been filled so that that job is taken down. So whatever job you're seeing on the website is very relevant, is very up to date. They actually do need the people. And that is what sets the CPHR job board apart from the regular organizations like Indeed and all that. Another amazing thing about most job boards is they offer more than just job listing. So I'll give you an example. If you take the CPHR Alberta job board, for example, you have access to free resume review. For any of you that have applied for roles in Canada, you notice that the unique thing that happens is you have to adjust your resume to the jobs you're looking for. It's not one standard resume fits every job. You keep having to make that edit all the time. So with the access to the free resume review, you can always upload it for them to check to see if everything is okay. There are also features on the job search board where you can upload the job description and your resume just so they see that you're picking up keywords from that job description on your resume. Most of the job boards across Canada in the CPHR provinces also have access to career coaches. They have access to job outlook, wage outlook, and all that. So it is a good idea that if you're currently looking for a role, or looking to transition into HR, that you start from your local provincial association job board. The other benefit of being part of the CPHR association is the fact that you get the opportunity to network. If you're anything like me, network is not a very pleasant thing to do. I'm a very shy person and it's hard to talk to people. And I know with a lot of immigrants, a lot of people who are new in Canada, sometimes that is the biggest challenge. You're thinking to yourself, well, we don't have anything to talk about. There's nothing in common. I don't know anything about hockey or any of these sports. But the truth is, we always have something to bring to the table. The unique thing about having an international background is you always bring a bit of cultural understanding to people. You make people see the nuances in cultures that they've never thought about. So there's always a fresh perspective to situations that you bring. So don't shy away from networking. With your CPHR membership, you're open to different networking opportunities. We understand the importance of building network and professional connections. So each association hosts several networking events throughout the year. Now, Canada is very big. It is impossible to meet every HR professionals. You can try to set up coffee dates on LinkedIn and you can try to meet people in other ways, but the truth is it's difficult. It's even difficult to form authentic connections on LinkedIn. So with networking opportunities, you get the opportunity to meet these people face to face. These are the same people that are going to sit across the table from you during an interview process. Why not put yourself in the same room with them in a very relaxed setting and chat with them? Um, Sometimes you're thinking, what should I start with? Start with, how are you doing? Tell me how you got into HR. Tell me some of the changes you're seeing with HR. With industry professionals, one question within their industry can get them talking for a long time. So never worry about that. The other thing about CPHR networking events is you have the flexibility of either doing it online or in person. So if you're very shy and you're more comfortable with online, start from there and slowly move on to the in-person networking sessions. Take, for example, if you live in British Columbia and CPHR Alberta has a networking event in British Columbia, you have access to probably 100 HR professionals at a time. If you go to 7 networking events throughout the year, probably you've been exposed to 200 to 300 people at most. And that is 200 to 300 people you wouldn't know otherwise just sitting at home. So this is one important benefit of your membership. Now, the last benefit of the membership I'm going to touch on is the mentorship program. The purpose of any mentorship program is to facilitate personal and professional growth between individuals and mentors. So they provide guidance, support, and knowledge from their experience. All your CPHR provinces offer different streams of mentorship to their members. So for those of you looking to transition into HR, the question is, where do I start from? Join a mentorship program, sign up for a membership, join a mentorship program, meet with someone who has been working in your province in the particular HR you want, and talk to them to see how you can transition over. If you're already in HR and you're struggling to find a role in Canada, meet with someone through the mentorship program and come up with a plan to see how you can integrate into this economic system of ours. Maybe it's something you're doing during interviews. Maybe it's something with your resume. Meet with them one-on-one and let them help you out. Now, the great thing with all the CPHR mentorship programs is it's very flexible. So you and your mentor get to choose when you want to meet and how long you want to meet. So if your time commitment is only 20 minutes every other week, fair enough. Meet 20 minutes. Make the most out of that 20 minutes. If you want to meet in person, okay, discuss that with your mentor. If it's virtual, discuss that with your mentor. It is so flexible according to your need. If you are matched with someone and you feel like, you know what, the vibe is off, I don't like this, you have the opportunity to switch to a different mentor. So wherever you are right now, whichever stage in HR you are right now, get the membership, dip your foot into HR in Canada by participating in any of the CPHR provinces mentorship program. So, if there are so many benefits of just being a member, what is the purpose of even pursuing the designation? Now, the thing is, the CPHR designation offers you credibility, it helps you with your career, and you have a community. So let's start with credibility. Now, the designation is a nationally recognized level of achievement. So if you get your designation in Alberta, you move to Nova Scotia, you're still a CPHR. You move to Saskatchewan, you're still a CPHR. It doesn't change. You just transfer to a different province. The thing with credibility is employers know the process involved in getting your designation. So for you to actually go from beginning all the way to the end to be referred to as a CPHR, it means you have gone through a rigorous process to update yourself as an expert in HR. The thing about any professional designation is it demonstrates that you've reached the peak of what we call an expert in your field. So having that credibility when you're looking for a role or when you're already within a role is very important to employers. Now, another thing about career also is it sets you apart from other people. Bear in mind that when you get a call back from an interview, there are so many other people in there that have gotten a call back. There's a reason why you are all there. Maybe all your skills are kind of similar. So now, what sets you apart? The fact that you're willing to train yourself and continuously update yourself by having that designation sets you apart. The thing about the CPHR designation as well is once you get to the top, you're referred to as a CPHR. We don't just leave you there. You go through yearly training and updates. So there's professional development activities that you have to complete every year. And this is a way to for us to ensure that you are keeping abreast with what is happening within the HR world. So for an employer, if you're willing to constantly upgrade yourself without being told, go take professional development activities, that is a plus for them because any new thing happening in HR, they know you are up to date. They know you're abreast with it. Now, the other thing, and probably most important thing about the designation is you build a community. As much as we want to think we're individuals doing our own things, we need a community. When you are in your association, you're in a hub with everyone who is thinking the way you are, everyone whose career is right around where you are. So I would always use Alberta as an example because I am based in Alberta. Our community is 6,300 HR professionals. So if you're in association with everyone who is in different aspect of HR, you get to tap into their knowledge and expertise at any time through any of the opportunities that the association presents to you. So you don't want to sit in one place trying your best, getting disappointed. You want to tap into that community space. And I'll tell you this, when I first migrated to Canada, one of the things that helped me was to join an association for what I do. I have a master's in education, so being part of like an education community, I used to live in Vancouver, so being part of that education community back then really helped me land my role, get to know people, and build my network. So immersing yourself in a community of HR professional will do you way more good than you'd even anticipate. And the last benefit of the designation is we did a research a while back with different industries. And for some industries, it's a huge pay jump for them when they get their designation. So if you work in an industry that is willing to pay you more because you have the designation, don't sell yourself short. So now that we've discussed all those benefits, what is the pathway to the designation? So I'll mention that across the province, there might be very little differences in how the pathways are laid out. But the three things I want you to remember across all the provinces is you need a membership to pursue the designation. That is step one. Step two is the national knowledge exam. And step three is the experience validation assessment. So I'll break it down step by step. What I mean by these are the three things you should remember across each province. So let's start with step one, membership. There are different types of membership you can register for. So there is the student membership for those taking at least 2 courses in any post-secondary. You can sign up for a student membership in any province. General membership is for those that they do not want to pursue the designation, but they want all the benefits of having the membership. So that you can sign up for a general membership. The second reason to sign up for the general membership is you want to pursue the designation, but you don't have an HR degree or diploma. So if you take me, for example, my background is in education. So for me to go through the process, I have to start from a general membership. Now, associate membership is for those who have had education in HR. So you completed your degree, your diploma, your certificate in HR. Associate membership is where you're going to start from. These are the three types of membership that you can apply for. Now, once you pass your national knowledge exam, we refer to you as a candidate member. And once you get your designation, we refer to you as a chartered member. So for those who are applying under the general membership stream, like myself, no background in HR, but want to get into HR, there is a coursework requirement. For you to start in HR and proceed to the national knowledge exam, we want to see you have some theoretical knowledge in HR. So there are 9 foundational courses that we expect that you complete, and those are the 9 foundational courses listed on your screen. If by any chance through your program you completed one of those 9 foundational courses, we do give you credit for it. So there's accounting, industrial relation, OHS, organizational behavior, recruitment, and selection. Once you're done with all the 9 foundational courses, we move you to an associate membership. So the goal to pursue the designation is associate membership. So once you're done with all the 9 courses, you move to an associate membership, which means you're moving on to step 2, the national knowledge exam. This is offered once a year only in November. So we just had one November 14th. It's multiple choice questions. It's 150 questions that goes across all the different competency areas in HR. So organizational change, innovation, total rewards. There's specific areas that we pick the question from. CPHR Canada picks the question from. You're given 3.5 hours roughly to complete the exam. Some people choose to do it in person. Some people choose to do it online. That is totally up to you what your preference is once you're registering for it. But before you get to step 2, which is the exam, you should have already completed step 1, which is membership. So you're done with the exam, you pass the exam. Your final step is experience validation assessment. This is where we look at all the work you've done in HR. So for those who have a degree, it's usually 3 years experience in HR. Those who have a diploma is 4 years experience in HR. For provinces that have a certificate program, they might ask for 5 to 8 years in HR if you just have a certificate. But essentially what we do in this process is we look at what work you've done in HR. There are questions that we ask and you pick and choose 8 out of the 49 questions to answer. So maybe you're asked the question of how did you support the connection or foster commitment within a company among employees? So you describe to us how you did that, or tell us an innovative procedure or process you brought to HR, and then you're going to describe the time you did that. We always ask for a resume during this process. We ask you to get job descriptions for your roles during this process. The wonderful thing about this process is it doesn't limit you to just Canadian experience. So for those of you that have had experience abroad, your international HR experience will qualify for this position, for this assessment. And once you're done with this assessment and you're successful, you're referred to as a CPHR and you have the CPHR designation. And so just for those outside Canada, one thing I want you to note is we recognize in international education. What we ask you to do is go to either WES, IQAS, or ICES to get an assessment for us. So you know how they usually do like an evaluation and they tell you what your education is in the Canadian education system. We ask for that. So your credential has to be assessed. There is the option to waive the NKE instead of writing it. Unfortunately, right now, if you schooled outside Canada, you don't have the option of waiving the NKE. So if you absolutely do not like exam and you do not want to sit for the 150 choice multiple question, you can always take courses with CPHR accredited schools in Canada and have the option to boycott the NKE and absolutely waive it. And again, like I mentioned, your experience outside Canada counts towards your designation. So this is the information I have for you today. If you have any questions, let me know. I see things popping up in the Q&A already. Um, I applied for the CPHR designation and never heard back. So if you never heard back, I'll say reach out to your provincial association. I know that sometimes with the system, it shows that you are like the application is pending. Let me use CPHR for example, so I don't confuse you. In CPHR Alberta, we have a lot of situations where people start the application but never submit it. So the status is pending. So the person is waiting, thinking, oh, I haven't heard back. But the truth is, we haven't even gotten the application to begin with. So I'll say reach out to your provincial association. Maybe there's something you're missing there. Maybe the application is not submitted, maybe they have a backlog application, but whatever it is, please reach out to them and they will tell you exactly what is happening.
Fiona, I'm just going to ask that we hold the questions for all three of you right until the end, because I'm sure we're going to get a lot of questions, and then we can just pop through them.
Awesome.
I guess now we are going to hand it over to Svetlana to talk about your particular journey arriving in Canada and setting up your career as an HR professional.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you, Fiona, for such wonderful insights about CPHR. You know, those of you who are watching, listening to this webinar, you will see that I knew approximately what Fiona will be covering in her presentation, but we didn't really discuss. And you will see that what I will be talking about in the first part of my presentation will be very lived experience, what Fiona just described from the CPHR perspective. So let me share my slides with you and we will get into it. Okay. So building your HR career here in Canada. As Wendy has kindly introduced me, I'm Svetlana. I have been in Canada for 10 years, so moved here 10 years ago. And I am an internationally trained HR professional. And, you know, like many of you, I kind of had to start from scratch and build up my HR career relying on the experience that I had in the past. So what I wanted to cover with you today is I wanted to go through talking a little bit about CPHR designation, but from a member perspective. I also wanted to touch on Canadian education in your HR career, because I went through Canadian education as an HR professional, and I'm also wearing a different hat today because today I am teaching in the HR program here in Canada. So, you know, I like to say that I'm raising the future generation of HR professionals. So we will talk a little bit about that. And I will also touch on quickly transferable skills for your HR career, specifically those of you who said in the poll at the beginning that you would like to transition into HR. So let's start from CPHR for building your HR career here in Canada. Now, you know, when I first moved here to Canada and I was thinking about how do I start building my HR career, on the one hand, I have had years of experience, I had certain achievements, but on the other hand, many of you who are internationally trained HR professionals could probably relate. You always have this little voice in your head that says, well, you have to start from scratch. Everything you did before doesn't matter, different country, different requirements, so on and so forth. And I could see right now how wrong I was thinking this way and how much value I have in the experience that I have already built. But also to make it applicable here in Canada, we definitely have to find this perfect match of what we bring and how we align it with the things that are applicable here in the Canadian workplace. I will never forget that when I first heard about CPHR and I had one of the people in my network that just got her CPHR designation. And I was curious, what is this CPHR? Why do you need this CPHR designation? So the thing that she told me, she said that these are the 4 letters that open career doors for you. And I was like, okay, I am curious what these 4 letters are and how can I actually get into it. But now looking back, I would tell you that these 4 letters definitely open career doors for you in so many different ways. So today, if you look at a lot of job postings, just, I don't know, for practice, go and look at 10 different HR related job postings. you will probably notice that CPHR designation is often highlighted as an asset for any level of HR position. You will see entry-level jobs, you would see mid-career HR jobs, senior level jobs, of course. And it makes sense because the people who would have CPHR designation or the professionals who are pursuing their CPHR designation, it would demonstrate that, they have certain level of expertise, they have certain level of commitment to the profession. So more and more job postings, HR related job postings that I personally see today, these four letters, they are included. But of course, it's much more than just having this designation and that's it, you're a recognized CPHR professional for the rest of your life. And I will talk a little bit more about some other benefits that I see from a member perspective. So like Fiona has mentioned, this path towards achieving your CPHR designation, we all start from being a member and building up towards the designation. I started being CPHR member many years ago. When I came to Canada, I enrolled in the HR program at Bow Valley College. So I wanted to go back to school, to get Canadian credentials. And started learning about CPHR. And from the member, I started building it up towards getting my designation. So got my designation 4 years ago, was super excited about it. And it was so interesting to hear when Fiona mentioned that today CPHR Alberta actually has, I think you said 6,400 members, something like that. And I found my LinkedIn post from 4 years ago when I got my CPHR designation, and the community was just over 3,000 members. So it's so beautiful to see how the community of HR professionals here in Alberta, and I would assume all over Canada, has grown so rapidly, over the last 4 years. So my path towards CPHR designation was, again, I came as an HR professional, but internationally trained HR professional. Had a lot of experience from a different country, did not have experience working in Canada. And my education wasn't directly in HR. So I had to go through a couple of steps towards actually building up for this designation. Being a member, I went through Canadian educational institution to get, again, a little bit knowledge within the Canadian field. And the wonderful thing that I really appreciate CPHR for is that, like Fiona has mentioned, CPHR recognizes international experience. And this is where all of you who are internationally trained HR professionals, you should be so proud of everything that you have already achieved. And it will play a huge role when you actually will be pursuing your CPHR designation. I also was one of those lucky people who was able to waive the national knowledge exam. Now, I hear a lot from a lot of HR professionals that the national knowledge exam is a tough one. It tests your knowledge in so many different fields in HR, and we all know that HR is such a rich field that covers everything related to the workplace. So my way to waive the national knowledge exam was that I actually went back to school here in Canada, and the institution where I took the HR program was accredited institution. I will touch on that a little bit more as we go through the presentation, but just a quick note to elaborate on what Fiona has also mentioned. A lot of people who are going through education, HR related education here in Canada, some of the institutions, they are recognized by CPHR as accredited institutions. It means that CPHR looks at the courses that those institutions offer, analyzes how it aligns what they want to see in their CPHR designated professionals, and they give this stamp and say, yes, we approve your courses because we actually accept what you teach. And if your students completed your program with a certain grade, we will accept it instead of them doing the NTE exam. So I was lucky and I was able to actually waive the exam. Now, when I think about CPHR Alberta and what it means to me, first and foremost, these four letters that open career doors, these are the letters that help me to build community of like-minded people. This is more than just your network. This is more than just going to those events and asking people about their experience within the HR careers. CPHR provides tons of professional development opportunities, to learn from the experts, but at some point, you can also get to the point where you're going to be sharing your talent. So, from my personal experience, I started with attending a lot of professional development opportunities offered by CPHR. And in the past couple of years, I have been heavily involved in actually speaking at some CPHR events, speaking at CPHR conferences. We work hard, but we also have a lot of fun in CPHR. There is a lot of fun events that are happening, and one of the upcoming ones that I really look forward to is the Holiday Mingle event that is happening next week. So you meet people from the industry, you meet like-minded people, you build your professional HR networks that it provides you career opportunities, it provides you advice when needed. You have these like-minded people around you that even being an HR professional and having a job, there is nothing better than reaching out to your contact or somebody in your HR network and actually having a conversation about some HR dilemma that you have in your current job. So this is something that I heavily rely on, and this is something that I feel that a lot of people in my network also heavily rely on. CPHR also is the place that can provide you these professional tools that you would need to solve tons of HR problems and issues. And that's what we often do as HR professionals. There is no such day in the world of HR that everything will be just flowers and sunshine and we don't need to deal with any work-related issues or difficulties and things like that. So this is a credible source of information. This is a community of like-minded people. This is a community of people that help you to build your career, to grow your career, and also to keep being relevant within your career. And also, this is a beautiful community of people that you can always have fun with. And again, there is nothing better than having like-minded people to work hard together and also have fun together. I wanted to share some of those statistics with you as well, and just to emphasize the importance of this very strategic and professional networking as you build or as you grow your HR career. Some statistics show that 88% of businesses that actually report that their best hires are referrals. And we all know where referrals are coming from. Referrals are coming from those networking opportunities, those people that we know. Referrals are coming from having a mentorship, for example, throughout your CPHR membership, and by building relationships with the mentor. And it just happened to be that the organization where this mentor is working at is hiring, or some other person in the network of this mentor is hiring. So through those referrals, people are actually able to get the job, and businesses report that the most talented people that they find are coming through referrals. Another interesting statistic that up to 80% of jobs are filled by personal and professional connections. Again, if you have this community of professional, like-minded people, you would have much more chances to either get the job or keep growing your HR career. And roughly 70% of people, they receive their current company position through networking. So I think these numbers actually speak pretty loud by why do we need to network, but not just to network, we need to actually do it strategically. We need to not simply think about networking like, okay, how do I network to get a job? Because networking is not about getting a job. Networking is about growing. Networking is about building friendships. Networking is about creating this community of like-minded people. And all of that brings these potential job opportunities. So to sum up all of that, I would say that for me personally, in my experience, CPHR has played a tremendous role in, first of all, helping me to start network, helping me to network strategically, and also today feeling so blessed to being surrounded by the community of those like-minded HR professionals that they are my mentors, they are my to-go-to, and being an HR educator today, I am a big advocate for kind of encouraging my students to actually get more and more involved with CPHR community, because it truly is more than just networking. It's a beautiful professional community. So switching the gears a little bit, the next thing that I wanted to touch on is the importance of Canadian education for building your HR career. Now, I want to make this comment right away that this is not a mandatory requirement. A lot of people who do not have Canadian education, they come here as professionals. They are very, very successful in actually building their careers, getting the job that they want, and so on. My path was a little bit different, and I came here 10 years ago, again, as I have mentioned before, having my education, being a professional. I have built my career in HR, but coming to Canada, I felt a little bit lost from professional perspective because I felt that I have to start from scratch. So from being a student in Canada to moving towards being a professional in Canada, these pictures that I included on the slide, they are truly dear and near to my heart. And Lydia, who is here with us on the call, she is a dear friend who I met during my very first days here in Canada. And since then, you know, we are so much in touch with each other that without even noticing, we dressed very similarly for today's webinar. And I can swear we did not talk about what color or what we're gonna wear. But we met here 10 years ago. Both of us had, in a way, similar backgrounds because we came being professionals. We came, you know, having had experience working in certain levels on the corporate kind of level. We had prior education, and both of us decided to enroll in Canadian institution to actually get Canadian educational experience. Today, if I look back, I would say that I would do all of it again in a heartbeat because it has provided me with so many wonderful things that I didn't even plan in getting while attending my school here in Canada. My intention was at the beginning just to get Canadian credentials, but I got so much more than that. I got wonderful friends from this experience. I grew as a professional. I got a lot of insights into actually Canadian workforce. And a couple of things that I actually wanted to highlight here by speaking about Canadian credentials is first and foremost that Canadian employers, they are actually familiar with the local educational system, and they trust that the quality and the relevance of the educational system here in Canada will be applicable within the workplace. So holding Canadian credentials will definitely help you and help employer to, you know, eliminate this need to reevaluate international experience and so on and so forth. Additional point is that the Canadian education is aligned with the job market needs here in Canada, right? Because today, being an educator working within the post-secondary institution, the first goal or the purpose that we have is the programs that we offer. We want to make sure that those programs are aligned with the industry needs. So Canadian educational institutions, they design programs that do just that. They align with the country's labor market requirements. And also today there is a mandate from the government, specifically in Alberta, for example, that every post-secondary institution has to offer work integrated learning experiences for their students. What it means that every single student in the post-secondary institution here in Alberta, at the end of their program, they will have hands-on experience working in the industry. So this is a huge plus when you apply for your careers, HR careers in the future, because on your resume, you will already have an experience working in Canadian organization. Additional point that I wanted to highlight is the networking opportunities throughout your schooling. Educational programs in Canada are often providing tons of networking opportunities, you know, through workshops, through guest speakers, through job fairs. And speaking of where I work, for example, we are heavily involved with CPHR Alberta. So our students at Bow Valley College, where I teach, they start building these connections with professional associations before they even get into the workforce while being a student. So again, if you consider going back to school and if you consider getting again your Canadian credentials, Canadian education, not only you will get your education, you will also have all of those additional benefits such as recognition by employers, alignment with the job market needs, and additional networking opportunities. Last but not the least is that your Canadian educational credentials, they actually provide you with this look into the Canadian culture within the workplace. Because studying in Canada, it helps international students as well as any immigrants who decide to go back to school to get into the workplace culture, Canadian workplace culture that might be very different from what you are familiar with. It helps you to learn different communication style here in the workplace, certain professional norms that we have. And of course, it makes you to be better prepared to integrate within the Canadian workforce. So these are just a couple of points to highlight why by getting Canadian education, if you choose to go this path, would be beneficial for you. A couple of options that I wanted to highlight, again, based on my experience. I teach within the HR program here in Calgary at Bow Valley College. And the programs that we offer at Bow Valley College are Human Resources Certificate Program, which is a one-year program. We also have Business Administration Diploma Program with HR major. This is a two-year program. And in addition to that, we have a micro-credential programs, which are just sets of different courses for HR professionals who are already working in the industry and they want to either upskill or reskill themselves, and again, to be up to date within the HR field. So from my experience, I started as a student at Bow Valley College, and I often today joke with my students that I refused to leave this place, so they had to hire me. I started with the HR certificate. Initially, I wanted to go just through a quick year of a certificate program, and this is where Lydia and I met back then. Absolutely loved my experience and decided to continue for another year and getting an HR diploma. Even though I had a degree from back home, I already had years of experience in the HR field. But now looking back, I see how fundamentally important it was for me to keep building my HR career. And the additional bonus was here when I graduated from the HR diploma program at Bow Valley College, because Bow Valley College has an accredited program with CPHR. I was able to waive my NKE exam. And not only it helped me to save some money, it also helped me to save a lot of time and kind of to shorten my path towards getting my CPHR designation. So if you are somebody who is considering or thinking about getting Canadian credentials, Canadian education, if you kind of build it within your plan and you have the time and money to do that, I definitely recommend you to explore those options, because there are multiple benefits. It's not just the benefits of Canadian credentials, there are benefits of everything that I just mentioned in the previous slides, building your network, getting into this culture, Canadian culture in the workplace, and pursuing your potentially professional designation for the future. And lastly, I also wanted to touch on some transferable skills. So, today I work a lot with different students within my role as an HR educator. And I have students who are coming from so many different walks of life. I have students who are international students who just moved here to Canada. It could be somebody who has experience in HR and now they want to build it up and continue working here in Canada within the HR field. Or it could be an internationally trained professional who came to Canada and said, well, I didn't work in HR, but this is the new career that I would like to pursue. I also have a lot of people who are not necessarily international students. They might be immigrants, or they might be people who are local students, domestic students, and they simply want to transition from one career to another, or they have been out of the workplace for many, many years for whatever reasons they have, and now they want to go back into the workplace. And this is where I wanted to highlight those transferable skills and specifically focusing on HR, because very often we have this tendency to underestimate everything that we have accomplished in the past. And this is a huge mistake. It could be accomplishments that are HR related, or it could be accomplishments for some other fields where we're coming from. But if we know how to wrap it up and show how transferable all of those experiences are in this new HR career that you're trying to develop, I can promise that if you look for this transferability, you will be able to find those transferable skills. But it's also an art to learn how to highlight those transferable skills. I recently came across this post and I just thought it's very funny, but also very, very true. I often see it with my students that people would come to me and say, well, but I simply work in this survival job right now. How is it relevant for my resume? How can I actually show that the skills that I have in serving food at McDonald's are relevant for my career in HR? And yes, we can talk about it in a way that, well, what do you do? I work at McDonald's. Or we can take it a step up and say, we have a part-time job in a fast food industry. Or if we really want to highlight transferable skills, we can definitely talk about what do we do in this fast food industry. By working at McDonald's, you handle transactions for multi-billion-dollar company. And of course, this post is a little bit exaggerated, but you get the point. It depends how you highlight your transferable skills. It depends how you speak about your experiences. And you know, people will treat you the way you show them how to treat you. If you talk about your current or previous job, it's just a job that I do, this is how people gonna see it. But if you highlight those important aspects of the job, people would look at it in a completely different way. And a side note, you definitely want to proofread any post or any resume that you submit. Like in this particular post, if we'd like to, show transferable skills and talk about how you handle transactions for a multi-billion-dollar company, make sure that you spell the company in a correct way. So this is a side note, but an extremely important note if you want to come across as a professional when you both network, send messages to people, work on your resume, so on and so forth. I wanted to share another quick story here. I just recently talked to one of the people in my network, and this person works in a printing company. So they hire a lot of people to work in the office to do the printing jobs, and this person told me, I really love hiring people who have experience working in the fast food industry. And I was like, why? What does it have to do with the skills that they need for the job that they do in your printing company? And she told me that, those people that I hire from, for example, McDonald's, they are the people that learn the best how to actually do the printing jobs. Because if you translate this process-like thinking into you do the process working in McDonald's, how you fry the fries, and then how you put your burger, you need to follow certain steps, and you actually need to do it step by step. The process is very similar when you do any type of printing jobs. So she told me that when I hire people from the fast food industry, it takes me so very quickly to actually teach them how to do the job in the printing company rather than somebody who's never done this process-like job. And it made me think about the HR jobs. There are so many different skills, qualifications, and requirements within the HR job that we could easily translate even if we don't have an HR experience. And I included just a couple of examples here. So in my experience working with students who did not have an HR experience in the past but would like to transition into HR, I often work with people who would have engineering experience. I often have people who have customer service experience, and I often would have students who have accounting experience. And it's a really funny point because I see even within the CPHR community, there are a lot of HR professionals who were accountants in the past. I don't know why. I haven't figured out what was this correlation of transitioning from accounting into HR. But even the current president of CPHR Alberta has the accounting background. So, for example, engineers, people who are coming with an engineering background and they would like to transition into HR, those analytical abilities, these process optimization abilities, that data-driven decisions, they are extremely, extremely valuable for the HR jobs. And if we know how to wrap it up and show in your resume, during your networking, during your interview experiences, how those skills that you did during your engineering job are applicable within the HR job, you will need to show it to the hiring manager and to the person who's looking at your resume and make these transitions so very clear, make these transferable skills so very clear. Because today, if I hire an HR person, I definitely want to have somebody who's analytical, extremely important quality for an HR job. I want somebody who knows how to optimize the processes, extremely important quality for the HR job, and definitely data-driven decisions. This is what we do in the HR world today so much. And somebody who is an engineer can apply those skills in HR. Exact same idea with the customer service skills, conflict resolution, interpersonal skills, communication skills. Think about those jobs working at McDonald's. Think about those jobs working at grocery store or any kind of retail store. A lot of customers, unhappy customers, happy customers, co-workers. You are with people all the time. You serve people, and you need to find the ways how to actually talk to people in a way that they would listen. This is the exact same thing that we do in HR. This is such a clear transferability, but we need to know how to show this transferability when we grow our HR career. Another example is accounting. Again, attention to details, budget management, data integrity. So all of those skills are super valuable to the HR role. So my point here is that if you are already working in HR and you have a different experience from the past, but you would like to work your HR career, or you are transitioning into HR career from a different industry, I can guarantee 100%, no matter what the industry you're coming from, there are gonna be transferable skills that you have. But you will need to reflect on them. You will need to find the way to showcase them, to promote them. And not only you will be a huge valuable asset for the company, you will be much more than that, because you will bring this double experience, you know, being an HR professional, but also bringing these additional transferable skills that will be extremely beneficial for the company. And my last advice would be, again, either you are just starting your HR journey, you want to transition into HR, or you already started and you want to keep growing your HR career. There is no better teacher than experience. So get experience any way you can. Look for opportunities, ask for opportunities, create opportunities for yourself. Get your hands on opportunities that actually give you chance to learn. And if you learn, not only you will enhance your knowledge and skills, but you will build such a valuable network of people who will be your biggest fans. And if you don't know where to start somewhere. Reach out to this person that you was interested to talking on LinkedIn. Check out this educational program that maybe you were considering to take, but you were not sure. Do something, because when you do your first step and you don't know where you're going, the way will eventually appears. Thank you very much for listening. And these are some things that I had here to share with you. I will be happy to answer some questions if you have them at the end. And I will pass the mic on to Lydia.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Svetlana. Thank you so much, Fiona. Such great presentations. And now I'm thinking actually return to HR, right? So, but I love my job at Windmill. So, and since I see that we have lots of questions, so I'll go through my slides pretty quick. But basically, what I wanted to say. So I've seen some questions and people are asking, how much I need to pay for my NKE exam, how much those HR certificate programs cost. So, and that's why I'm here today. So I'll share my screen, and Wendy, please let me know if everything works fine on my end, since I have had a lot of technical.
Perfect.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much. So like probably like some of you know our name already. So we are Windmill Microlending, and you might be wondering, what do we do? So Windmill provide affordable loans up to 15,000 exclusively to skilled immigrants and refugees. And I'm pretty sure that Svetlana and Fiona, they mentioned some costs for exams and for the programs, but I'm confident that the majority of them Windmill can cover. And sometimes when I present, people think that I represent a bank, and I always need to clarify that no, we are not a bank. Windmill actually as a national registered charity. So myself, I'm based in Calgary, and I know that some of you have joined from Alberta, but let's say if you are in Nova Scotia, if you are in BC, in Ontario, still you can find us and we might be able to help you. Here you can see that actually we have been around for almost 20 years, and we have helped more than 12,000 clients. And of course, since we are a not-for-profit organization, so we are funded by the government of Canada, Ontario, Alberta, and Quebec. And also, since we're running of time, so I'd like to show you how we are different and how you can differentiate us from any bank. So first of all, we don't require you to have Canadian credit history, but understand me right, if you have it, we are gonna check it. So, but let's say, as some of you have answered in the beginning that you just got off the plane. So and let's say if you have a clear career plan, so who knows, you might be eligible for our loan, and then you might be eligible for passing some exams or attending a program at any college or university in Canada. Also, we don't require you to have a stable income or to have a stable job, because we understand that you can live off your savings, you can live off your EI, maybe some government support available to you as well. And of course, we don't require you to have any assets to secure a loan or have a consignor on your application. So how our loans can be used? They can be used for 4 different ways. So the first, it's foreign credential recognition. And I know since a lot of you have joined this webinar today, this might not apply to you, but you might have some family members, some friends. For those, it might work. So it's basically for those who, let's say, if somebody was a doctor, an engineer outside of Canada. Now they're in Canada, their credentials are not recognized. So they need to go through a process which is called foreign credential recognition. And through that process, people have to pass a lot of exams and pay a lot of money. So it's where we can help. So the second thing here, it's a career change. So career change applies to those, it's like Svetlana was telling about transferable skills. So let's say if back at home you were an engineer or you worked at McDonald's, and now you would like to apply for an HR program in Canada. So you're changing your career. So again, if you don't have enough finances, we might be able to help you. The third thing here, it's a professional development or upskilling. It's exactly what Fiona was talking about. So to have a CPHR designation helps you to get a better career in HR. It helps you grow in this profession as well. But again, the membership comes with some fees, and also the exam itself costs some money as well. So again, we can help you with that. And the last thing here, it's a relocation for employment. So again, some of you answered in the beginning that you are already in some kind of HR career, but let's say you're based in Alberta, and tomorrow you have a job offer in Toronto. For example, Wendy, she's from Toronto. I know she loves Toronto. She wants all of the people to come to Ontario. So if you want to relocate within Canada and you have a job offer, so we can help you with that as well. The list of our eligible expenses you can see here, but again, you don't need to memorize it, because we will send you some beautiful links in the chat box, and you can go to our website and you can see all eligible expenses. But basically, just to say a few words, so we are very similar to any student loan across Canada, but in many cases, a student loan won't cover your living allowances. So, for example, if you're preparing for NKE exam, or if you're taking a micro-credential at Bow Valley College, so you might not be eligible for living allowances on the student loan, because again, the number of hours is too little, or you might be not a full-time student. And speaking of the exam itself, so it's not even a program, it's a preparation for your exam. But still, you might be eligible for living allowances in this case with us. So just to say a few words about our terms and conditions. So you can borrow from 2,000 to 15,000. So the minimum amount is $2,000. Our interest rate is 6.7%. For some of you, it might seem high, but actually it's not so high today. As you know, the prime rate of Canada is still quite high. So we are just a little bit higher than the prime rate of Canada. Also, let's say if you are successful and you want to pay us earlier, so you can pay us off with no penalties or administrative fees. And also our repayment term can be up to 5 years, but it depends on your case. So it depends on your program. So how long is your program? Why? For how long you study, and also we have a grace period available to you as well. Grace period means like while you're at school, like let's say if you take a program at Bow Valley College or at any college in Canada, and that program is 12 months. So then for 12 months, you might opt out to be on a grace period, and then you will be giving 3 months to find a job, still like you will be on a grace period. And on the right side, you can see an example. So what your payments approximately can look like, right? So especially if your program is exactly 12 months and your grace period for 15 months, then for 15 months, and if you take $10,000, approximately you will be paying around $55 a month. And then after 15 months, we will ask you to pay the principal plus the interest back, and then your payments will be a little bit more than $300 a month. But like sometimes it's still hard, especially as an immigrant, to apply for a loan. But I always mention that we are more than just a loan. So same as CPHR, same I know like with Svetlana's experience at Bow Valley College, we provide a lot of support to you. So first of all, we have a client success coach available to you. Also, if you go to our website, we have tons of career planning resources as well. Also, you can watch a recording of our financial literacy training, which explains how to manage your money in Canada. And also, same at CPHR Alberta, we have our mentorship program available to our clients. So it works in a similar way. So if you are in an HR profession and you're transitioning into HR, so you can ask us to match you with a mentor who is an HR professional and who is successful in Canada and understand what you're going through. Also, I would like to share some wonderful data with you. So if you Google us, like you can find that we have a lot of 5-star reviews. Our average repayment rate has been around 95%. And if you think about that, so we don't ask our clients for many things as a bank can ask, but still they don't go back to their home countries. They stay in Canada, they pay us back, and they increase their income more than 3 times, and it happens in a very understandable way. So it's basically like Svetlana and myself, we started kind of from scratch 10 years ago, and we work sometimes for a minimal wage, but now like we are, I think, in a better place in Canada. So just a couple of slides left. I would like to show you our eligibility. So first of all, you have to be in Canada. And since you all have answered that question that you are in Canada, I understand that you are in Canada. Now let's talk about your status in Canada, because sometimes people are confused with the statuses in Canada. So we ask you to have a permanent status in Canada. So with a permanent residency card, it's pretty straightforward. If you have that card, so you might be eligible for our loan. But also we have like some requirements. So like you can be a Canadian citizen. By Canadian citizen, I mean those who are like me. For example, I'm a Canadian citizen, but I am an immigrant. So you can also be on a study permit or work permit, but you have to have provincial nominee approved, because if you don't have it, then you're on a temporary status in Canada. When any province in Canada or territories, they tell that they want to keep you, then when you become eligible for our loan. So also, if you are waiting for a decision on your refugee status or protected person status, you are not eligible. But when you get the letter of decision from the government that they approved your status in Canada, it's when you become eligible for our loan. Also, we ask you to be internationally trained. Internationally trained, it means you need to have some education which you obtained abroad prior you came to Canada. So not in Canada, but outside of Canada. And it can be your post-secondary education, or it can be your work experience, at least 1 year, which is shown on your resume. So you might be wondering how you can apply for our loan, and you can apply in two different ways. So you can apply using this link, which is just embedded in this QR code. And also I know that Wendy actually will share that link with you through the chat box. But also if you would like to have some kind of VIP support, so you can just send us an email to, again, and Wendy, please share that email with everybody. Also, we will be sending you a follow-up email as well, where you will receive a lot information about Windmill, about CPHR, and also about Svetlana experience as well, and some new programs from Bow Valley College. And basically that's it. That's the end of my presentation. I'm sorry I went through this very quick because I wanted you to have an opportunity to have your questions answered. So stop sharing my screen and I'll pass it to Wendy. I'm pretty sure by now she knows how many questions we have and she will manage it beautifully.
Hello, everyone. So yes, I popped in the application link as well as Andrea D'Souza's email address. She's our partnerships liaison at Inquiry at Team Windmill, and she'll be able to help you out. Any questions you have about the application process, or if you need any assistance. So we're going to jump into the questions. I'm going to try and consolidate some of them together. So bear with me. We have about 15 questions. So I know, Fiona, you wanted to answer the first one, which is the experience should the experience be directly related to an HR position?
Yes, it should. We do understand that people don't work 100% in HR, but any position you've held, you should have had at least 50% HR responsibilities. Remember that it is an HR designation, so HR is the prerequisite.
Right. Okay, the next question is, will CPHR designation transfer to an HR designation in Australia?
Right now, we don't have a mutual recognition with an HR body in Australia, but I know some countries, even without the mutual recognition, accept all the background work that goes into the designation. So I know someone moved to Ghana and the HR Association emailed us just to see what the process is, and the person was granted a designation in that country.
Right. So, couple of questions about the NKE. What is the fee for it? And is there just one NKE each year?
Yes, there is one NKE each year. The fee, I'm going to guess here, it's roughly $500, but I can't tell you the exact amount, but it's somewhere there.
Okay. Is the CHRP designation by HRPA different than CPHR designation? If so, how?
So both are HR designations that are recognized. Up until the national knowledge exam, the process is pretty much the same. After the national knowledge exam is where it gets a bit different because the CHRP is specifically in Ontario, and they ask for you to do an employment law exam. So like I mentioned, with every province, there's just a bit of a difference. Ontario calls theirs differently, CHRP, but usually the process is the same till the national knowledge exam, and then we branch out.
Okay. For foundation courses, credit transfer. Will coursework completed in an international degree count?
Yes, it would. If you've completed, let's say, recruitment and selection abroad, we just ask that you send us a copy of what's it called, Svetlana? You get it at the beginning of your school year. It gives a description of your course.
Curriculum.
Okay,
Course
there, yeah.
curriculum.
So once you send, thank you very much. Once you send that to us, we're able to tell what you did. We'll accept that.
Okay, so I did my bachelor's degree validation with Wes in 2022. Is there any expected expiration date, or can I use that one?
You can use that one. WES does not give an expiration date to the best of my knowledge because whatever the assessment remains the same. It doesn't change. So no expiration date.
Okay. So again, for Fiona, for someone with a non-HR background, does this mean that the person cannot go beyond the associate membership level until the person has worked in an HR field for the needed number of years?
Correct. Yes. Because it is an HR designation, we need to see that background work in HR.
Okay. Somebody asked if the copy of the slides presented. Yes, I believe, Lydia, you'll be sending those out. The recording will come out tomorrow in an email to everyone. So yes, you will get a copy of that. I need you to guide me to know the next step to take in my HR journey. I obtained my diploma at ABM College Toronto based on becoming a member of CPHR. What will be my first exam to take?
So if you are getting your designation in Ontario, first of all, check to see if ABM is accredited with Ontario. Maybe they would have the option to waive the exam as opposed to writing it. If you don't have the option to waive the exam, then you're writing it. So your first step is the membership, then the exam. Then after the exam, the work experience bit. And if you live in Ontario, then you have one more exam to take.
Okay. I have 2.9 years of HR experience and an MBA in HR. Do you think I can apply for waiving the NKE exam?
Unfortunately, no. So, like Svetlana mentioned, CPHR has accredited programs. I'm just going to pop that link in the chat. There are specific schools that have gone through the process with CPHR Canada to make sure their courses match with the competencies for CPHR Canada. Those are the schools that can waive the exam. For now, there are no schools outside Canada that have that agreement with CPHR Canada. So if your education is solely outside Canada, you cannot waive the exam.
So I believe you've just answered, can I use a certification from another country in place of NKE?
Mhm.
Okay. I love this comment, which is thank you all for inspiring me, which is fabulous. How can I get the CPHR certification without prior experience?
So I would say this is where Svetlana's presentation comes into play. Like she's mentioned, look at what skills can transfer over. With the CPHR designation, you need a background in HR. There's no way to call you an expert in HR with absolutely no background, but go through your work experience, see what can transfer over, and start from there. Start with like a mentorship program, get someone one-on-one to help you look at how you can highlight those skills to land your first role in HR and then pursue the designation.
And
Okay,
sorry,
we just.
and Svetlana, so like okay, go ahead, Svetlana, you might answer.
No, just wanted to ask Fiona, and correctly if I'm wrong. So when people apply for their CPHR designation, because this is what I see with my students a lot, they just at the very beginning of their HR career, and many of them don't even have HR experience, but they already are a member. And while working, they are building up towards their designation. So there is a certain period of time that is given between the application and the years of experience that they need to get, right?
Correct. Yes. Absolutely. So once you apply for a membership, it doesn't mean you need to get your CPHR designation in the same year. So you can start with membership in 2024 as you're building work experience, tapping into the HR community, all the expertise and knowledge. And once you write your national knowledge exam, the NKE, we give you 10 years before that exam expires. So you have ample time to get work experience in HR.
And do you understand right? And that's what I wanted to add. So technically, if somebody doesn't have any HR experience, so technically they can apply for a program, right? And start with an HR program, and then like eventually they can build their way through, right? And for example, when I took an HR program, I could have stayed and become like an HR professional, like by attending a lot of workshops and what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
And I should add that with some provinces, I know CPHR Alberta does this, Saskatchewan is thinking about doing this, but the fact that with most schools right now, there is a work integrated learning part of it. We do give you credit for that 1 year practicum work you've done, which counts for your HR experience.
I see. Okay, that's wonderful.
Okay, I know we've only got 5 minutes left, but we have only a few questions left. So Lydia, this is a question for you. Is it available only to PR status applicants or applicants with an open work permit?
So if you're on an open work permit, it's already great, but to be eligible for our program, you need to obtain a provincial nominee, so or PR status. The good thing though, that I know that a lot of people who are on a work permit now, they're applying for provincial nominees. So you don't need to wait for like a card or something, but if you have a letter and you are still on a work permit, then you might be eligible.
Okay. I have a bachelor's degree in banking and finance and a master's degree in business administration. HR as a course is taught in both of these fields of studies. Given this, at what stage of membership would I start from?
General membership. So we look at your transcript to see what HR courses you have completed. If you've completed 6 out of the 9 HR foundational courses within those 2 programs you did, we give you credit for it, and you'd only take the 3 you don't have.
Okay. And does CPHR provide some educational resources or workshop for the NKE?
Yes, CPHR Canada partners with Captus Press, and they handle all the NKE prep courses. They're like study groups. They're also like instructional with an instructor and audience preparing for the NKE, as well as if you go to CPHR BC's website, they have put up some past questions that you can practice at home too.
And sorry, and just a question from me then. So like that Cactus Press, like, do they charge people for prep courses?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I'll check myself.
I think they do.
Yeah.
I'll verify and then let you know. So when you send out the slides, you can send out that information.
From my calculations, being an associate member needs financial maintenance. Do you think I should wait till I get a full-time job before I start the journey of being an associate?
I'll say contact Windmill Microlending to see how much you can get. In addition to, most employers have a PD budget. So usually when you're doing your interview or maybe your first performance review, you can negotiate for them to pay for your membership as well. So just ask any employer you're working with for if their PD budget will cover your designation. But first, reach out to Windmill.
Okay, I know we keep getting questions. I'm going to cap it at the last 3 that I saw. I am pursuing a diploma with an HR specialization from Bow Valley College, so I don't need the exam. But do I have to wait for 4 years of experience to get validated with CPHR?
So any HR experience you've had in the last 10 years will qualify. So if you've had prior experience before starting at Bow Valley, like Svetlana had, that all counts as part of your CPHR designation. So you don't need to wait to finish your program with Bow Valley and then start working. If you have any prior HR work, that will count. If you have nothing at all, then I'll say build upon your HR work while in school, whether it's part-time work or your practicum, start building on that.
And is NKE same as CPHR?
NKE is an exam you take on your way to becoming a CPHR.
So, and it stands for National Knowledge Exam. And the reason I wanted to clarify, because like when I first heard it, I was like, is it Nike? Like, is it related to Nike? So like for a lot of people, it's hard.
And is there a practice document for the NKE? And if so, how can they get it?
All the practice document always Captus Press. So provincial associations do not do the prep course. CPHR Canada partners that with Captus Press, and they do it. So I can send you the link to Captus Press, and then you can reach out to them. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. And meanwhile, I just wanted to inspire people and say, because yes, I knew Svetlana in the very beginning, like she didn't have CPHR designation. And I remember when we were attending Bow Valley College, we were thinking like, if we saw a teacher with an accent, like we were like, wow, how they got there. And now Svetlana is a leading teacher at Bow Valley College. So and I always tell, if she made it, then why you cannot do that, right? So like, again, with a lot of resources, with a lot of help. So if you're struggling with finances, again, there are great programs across Canada. Like if you're in Alberta, unfortunately, you have just us, but in many provinces, like you have many finances available to you as well. And of course, like always remember about a student loan, but again, a student loan, just check what they can cover. And also like a lot of our clients, like they would have both. Like they would have a student loan and they would apply for a loan with us just for some other things as well, that it will, two programs, they complement each other as well.
And sorry, and just to add to Lydia's comment, I would say that Svetlana is a very good contact to have, and not to put you on the spot, but in Alberta, she's a very, I'll say, influential person within the HR community. She's helped shape a lot of new HR professionals coming into the system. And if you talk to anyone right now in HR who has gone through her program, they have nothing but awesome things to say about her. So she's a very good contact to have as well.
All right.
And
I'm
she has
sorry, we're going to have to wrap it up. I know there are just a few more questions, but you do have the emails for Fiona, as well as if you have any questions about the loan program. So to email Andrea D'Souza. So again,
connect with us on LinkedIn as well. Yes, with all of us on LinkedIn.
okay, yes, and that was in the registration, I believe, all the information. So yes, please reach out if you have any further questions. I'd like to thank everybody, Svetlana, Lydia, and Fiona, for joining us and going slightly over time. Appreciate that so very much. And thank you everyone for joining us. An email will come out tomorrow and the recording of this session will be there. So if you need to review anything, you can certainly have a look at that. And I'm going to
Thank you,
stop.
Wendy, for tremendous support on this webinar.
You are very welcome. All right. Okay, everyone, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, bye-bye.